This is actually one of my favorite topics when I get on with a client, because many times, and I know a lot of you are in the same boat too, you've dipped your toes in the work management system waters and said, all right, I'm going to try Asana or ClickUp or Monday, but I don't really know that I'm using it to its fullest extent. And I don't know that I'm getting the most value out of it. I hear that on almost every single call if a work management tool has been used. So super quick things to look at. If you're looking at Asana or trying Asana or using Asana, um, a really often missed feature with that is the status update on the project level. When a status update is created, you can have discussions in it. It's actually one of Asana's most powerful features, and the other two systems don't have an equivalent feature set that relates around the status updates. Asana adds that with portfolios, and portfolios are a lot of times a confusing thing to set up inside of Asana. And there are actually status updates on portfolios. And so when you combine portfolios and nesting portfolios and status updates, you can essentially create a hierarchy in Asana of status updates that bubble up and get simplified. And it's a really, really powerful tool. It does take a little setup, but it often completely gets ignored. ClickUp has a true hierarchy built into it. So a lot of times people start with one space because they don't know what a space is. So they just create one space in ClickUp and work out of an entire space, when in actuality, it's designed to do all kinds of stuff. And Monday has cool stuff like mirroring fields and all different types of custom fields, and leveraging statuses, and their automation is really strong. Those get ignored in Monday a lot. But I would say overall across all three, one of the commonalities that I see teams do, and we're going to talk about this in just a second in more depth, is that they'll set up a work management tool and then they'll still communicate in email and Slack, or they'll put too much into the system all up front. There's kind of like this kind of bell curve where it's like people are like, yeah, we got a work management tool. Then they dump all their projects and tasks and stuff into it. And then they're like, this is really overwhelming. We have no idea what we're doing. And so then they'll start avoiding things like the inbox and the my task sections and home screens and things that are really powerful. They start getting ignored. And then you build those systems and you figure out how to standardize it. And that's when it's like, all right, we've got a work management system that's actually working for us and providing lots of value.
Yes, all of those things. And I think this is our next point, but my biggest one that I see teams not leverage is turning off email notifications and really managing your notifications, because when you have a work management tool, it already has notifications built in your inbox. You don't want to be in a technology loop of multiple notifications happening from email and that. So you just go in and you turn all, like, this is my account. There is not a single email notification turned on, because then you're doing double work. You're archiving it or deleting it in your email, and you're doing the same thing in your work management system. Just work from your work management system. Take it out of email.
All right, so tracking progress and accountability inside of work management tools is one of the huge, outside of time savings, right? And of course, this correlates to time savings, but within a work management tool, they all provide you with the ability to say, all right, what are the tasks? Let's organize those tasks into projects. Okay, what are the projects? How do we organize those into portfolios or groups or teams or pods, whatever you have inside your organization? And then how do you understand what's going on within those teams or pods? Status updates would be, I mentioned earlier, is the project on track, at risk, off track, on hold, completed, et cetera. But it gives you that high level point of view. And one of the things that I like to do a lot with work management tools and help clients set up is an accountability meeting, which is essentially a weekly sync meeting that says, all right, who has each project, and give everybody 5 minutes to show up to talk about the progress that they've made. And essentially it creates positive accountability, because nobody wants to show up to that meeting and be like, well, I didn't really make any progress this week, when everybody else is talking about their progress. So it creates this really nice positive way to say, all right, every week we're going to do this. We're going to share these things. It starts breaking down silos. Managers no longer have to go, where are we at with this? Where are we at with this? Alane, what's up with this task? Are we going to get this done on time? Because it's all built in the system. All the data's there, all the information's there, and it pretty much auto generates an agenda for that sync meeting.
Yeah. I mean, I see the power of it with managers, that it really is empowering to them, because they no longer feel like they're herding cats or chickens, trying to, keep the team moving. Then having that in place, that's really empowering for the manager to go, yep, I know exactly where we're at on this. And when leadership asks, that they don't need to go and take an hour getting with everybody to get an update. So I really like that from just the hierarchy of your team. And then centralizing communication, and we touched on this, but I want to touch on it a different way, is because you don't want to just take things out of email. And it's also about where all the other communication is happening. If you're chatting in Teams or chatting in WhatsApp or chatting in Slack, that stuff gets lost really easily when you're doing it across all the stuff that's happening in your company. And so when you centralize the communication and you communicate this question on this specific project or this task, then everything is happening in one place and you're not going and digging. Or the worst place, when you let go of an employee and then you have to go and sign into their email and dig through where they're at on things, right? Like, it's when you have that work management system, it doesn't matter if you have employee turnover, because you already have all the centralized communication there in your work management system. And just my little quick story on this is, 10 years ago, I was known as the goldfish in our company. Our team would ask me something verbally, and I'd say, yes, absolutely. And I'd turn around and I would completely forget about what they asked me. And it was because I was overloaded. My brain was at capacity. But when we implemented Asana and we started putting in these finite details, then I could remember everything. I mean, there was a time where I had a client question come up and I told them the specific date, March 2014, go look in this folder, because my brain had the capacity then to remember the important stuff and not swirling around everything that I had to do.